Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming to class. And my camera just shifted to widescreen, so you'll get the wider view of my room, so I won't have to mess with that. We are going to start laying down. I'm going to stay seated for a moment so I can read, but you're going to ideally take your blanket and roll it wide. So I always demo, usually kind of yoga blankets are about that square, and just roll it in a couple of rolls so it's a really wide burrito. We're going to use this a bunch this morning, so hopefully you have a yoga blanket. If not, don't worry about it. You can do everything we're going to do without it. And the blanket's going to lay over um, the mat so that when you lay on it, your upper back at the shoulder blades, below the shoulder blades, is on the blanket, and you'll find a comfy spot. So go ahead and start there. And if you need me to demo, and by the way, if you need a little something under your head because that's a little too high for you, um, please put something else under your head to support your neck. So you're just going to be like that. The blanket's going to be underneath your armpits so that your arms are free and your shoulders are free to come to the floor. And again, if you're comfortable with that, go ahead and start there, and I'll join you in a moment. I'm going to read again from Donna Fald's book, What's True Here. Every time I open it, I find a new one. And so I thought I would read this one of hers that is her title poem, and it's called What's True. What's true here is delight. What's true is the flight of a soul testing her wings and finding them airworthy. What's true are all the many challenges of life, from pain and resistance to anxiety and self-judgment, all arrayed like laundry on the line so I can decide which ones to fold and which ones get relegated to the rag pile. What's true here is a glorious day blown in on storm winds. What's true is the choice to be awake, alive, and joyous in the face of whatever this day brings. What's true is giving thanks and taking none of this for granted. What a beautiful way to start the day. So as you lay on your blanket, and again, please don't lay here in pain. You might feel a little stretch or a little bit of, I guess, a little discomfort, but no pain. You can always take the blanket out. You can always soften the blanket so it's not as thick, or put something under your head so that you are not quite in as deep a back bend. Feel yourself on the blanket, your arms out to the side. Maybe lift your hips and lengthen those hips down so that the lower back is longer and less bendy. And maybe your feet are on the floor here, the feet a little wider, the knees coming together. And feel your breath. And maybe you ask yourself what is true here at this very moment, right? This very moment as we tap into our bodies. What do you feel in your body? The pressure of the blanket against the back ribs, pressing the upper back forward a little bit. Maybe you feel the lower back in its small back bend. Maybe you feel your feet on the floor. And we ask ourselves, what is true here? What is true here? Am I in pain? If that answer is yes, you change something. Is there a little bit of curiosity? Is there a little bit of what is actually happening here, right? That inquiry that is so important to yoga. And as we start to take the breath in deeper, we feel the back body, the back part of the lungs press into the blanket, expanding out on all sides. And then as we exhale, whew, it softens. Good. Couple more there. Exhaling it out. Good. One more. And letting that go. And then bring your feet to hips width apart. Your knees are separated. And I just want you to gently rock your knees side to side. Don't go low at all. I'm not even coming off the feet. I'm just rocking those knees a little bit side to side. We're going to be working with the spine, the back body, and the spine today. We're going to explore the curves of the spine. Good. Couple more rocks. Maybe you go just a little bit wider. The next time the knees go over to the right, start to explore where it feels okay to you. How low can the knees go and it feel just fine? So as the knees drop over to the right side ribs are pressing forward a little bit more. The right side of the upper back is pressing more into a concave shape. Take a deep breath. It does not have to be low. Good. One more deep breath here. Exhaling that out. Take the one knee to center, the other knee to center. Start to explore the left side. Notice if the knees go as low, if they need to stay a little higher for this side of your body. Try to relax over the blanket as we explore this upper body work. Good. Deep breath, everybody. Try to soften in the legs and in the hips here as we open up the upper back, upper chest. And bring one knee to center, the other knee to center. Lift the hips, lengthen your lower back. Take both hands behind your head. Elbows are out to the side. Lift your upper back and body so it is more level. And then crunch in. Don't pull on the head. You should be able to let go of that head. Hands are there to support your neck. As you crunch in, you're going to get in touch with those core muscles. As you exhale or inhale, open, lowering down, exhale, crunch up. We won't do too many in this position. Good. And exhale. Inhale, open. Exhale, breathe. Good. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. And bring it up. Hold it here. Take one hand behind your head and reach with the other hand just past your leg. Now, I'm not tucking my chin hard. I'm kind of keeping the back of the neck long. Just breathe here. And replace the hands. Take the other hand behind the head. Reach with the straight arm past your leg. Feet stay on the floor. Feeling that body work. And both hands behind, you're going to dip one elbow or dip your right elbow to the right. Slide across, dip the left elbow to the left. And just kind of rock side to side and breathe. Couple more, just a couple more. Little massage for the back, although it may not feel that way. And last one. Whew, and lower down. Stretch those arms overhead. Arch through the back a little bit more, thinking more bridge pose or fish pose. Keeping the sacrum on the floor, keeping the feet on the floor. Deep breath. And then release that. Roll over to one side. Allow that blanket to be over the ribs underneath your armpit. Maybe your arm supports your head, or you straighten and let that head come all the way to the floor. Bottom knee stays bent, top legs lengthens, and the top arm goes anywhere overhead. Keep the elbows soft. Good, just stretching out the side of the body, taking that spine into a very gentle C curve here, very gentle. Take a deep breath and see if you can feel the side ribs press into your blanket. Good, one more here. Deep breath. Exhale, you're going to roll onto your belly. That blanket's going to go underneath that chest line. Coming into Sphinx pose, thinking about this little bit of a back bend, right? So the belly tones in, the low belly reaches back as the tailbone lengthens. Sphinx pose here, the tops of the feet are active. The hips are a little active here, but don't over squeeze the glutes. That's where we can get into a little bit of trouble with pinching that low back. And then lay over your blanket. Take the hands, rest your forehead on top of your hands. The palms are face down. Pause here for a moment. I keep lifting my head so you can hear me. Keep your hands glued to your forehead. Press into your pubic bone and lift the elbows head off the floor. And then exhale it down. Inhale, lift. Down, just 5 of these. Inhale, exhale. 2 more. Down. Last one. And down. Release. Turn over to your other side. I know I said we were going to use this blanket a lot today, and we are. Maybe you support your head with that bottom arm, or just let the head come to the floor. Bottom knee is bent, top leg is straight, top arm just goes overhead very gently here. Make sure you're not crunching up too much through the shoulders. Just pause. Try to keep the hips stacked, one on top of the other, so we're not leaning. Take a really deep breath into that blanket. Good, again. Exhale it. And then bend your top leg, release that top arm, and push all the way up, all the way up. We are not done with the blanket laying down, so I'm just changing orientation. Take your same little blanket roll if you've been using it and make it long ways on your mat. We're going to use this in several different poses, so just take that nice and long. And then, and again, if you want a blanket or a pillow for your head, we're going to start with the head fully supported. But if you want it, go ahead and use an extra length here. And then lay on the blanket so that your whole spine is on the blanket, minus your sacrum and tailbone. Your head is supported. Lengthen through your lower back and then drop the hips down. If that feels like it's a little too deep for you, a little bit too much of a curve in your low back, again, a blanket or a pillow underneath those hips can work wonders. So again, pause here. Take the arms out either in T position or cactus. The back of the neck is long, the chin, the nose pointing roughly straight up. And just hang here for a second and see how this feels in your spine, on your spine. Taking a nice deep breath in and letting it go. Good. Inhaling in and exhaling. And then again here, I want you to just start to rock the knees. Just gentle, gentle, gentle. Just rock a little. So the first time we did this, a lot of the movement was in the upper spine. Right now, we're working in the lower spine just a little bit, starting to find the line there where the knees go to one side. Make sure this is not hurting your low back. And then as the knees go toward the right, start to explore how far the knees will go, if at all. Maybe the right knee comes all the way to the floor, the left shoulder, left arm stay down, the left shoulder pressing down to the blanket, left arm on the floor. Don't overdo this. Just let it be. Let it be where it is and what it is. Maybe smile, maybe take a deep breath. And then take the knees to center, allow them to go to the other side again, making no assumptions, just seeing where this side will go for you. I like this orientation of the blanket so much more. It feels really good on my spine. Breathe. And both knees to center. The arms can stay where they are, or if you want a little break from that, take them a little bit lower. Now, think about this low spine, right? And the low back. The feet stay on the floor, the upper, the whole spine, minus the lower part, stays on your blanket. I want you to curl your pelvis and lift those hips off the floor like you're doing a really deep cat pose, right? We're not lifting the low back off the blanket. It stays down. We're just curling or tucking that pelvis. Squeeze it up, keep squeezing, and then let that go. Good. Four more just like that. Squeeze, curl, tuck, engage the glutes, and exhale it down. Good. And bring it in. Breathe. And lower. Just two more here. This should feel really nice on that low back, but if it doesn't, then lessen the move. Always take care of your bodies, my darlings. And lower. Good. Last one. Curl, 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 squeeze. Hold it here. Take those arms into robot arms and press the shoulders down around your blanket. Again, that head nice and comfy. Press that upper back, upper body into the blanket, into the floor. Only if you want, start to lift the hips a little bit more bridge pose, curling that tailbone down toward the back of the knees, pressing the back into your blanket, and then slowly let go and release the hips down. Just one more like that. First, curl up, lift the hips off of the floor, robot arms, press the shoulders back, the hips lift, the lower back comes off the floor, the mid back comes off that blanket. Breathe, lift, and lower, 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 lower. Release those arms. Breathe. All right, so the next one, we're going to scoot up our blanket until the blanket is behind our neck, supporting our necks, but our head is down on the floor, the back of the head. Again, always mindful of our necks. Make sure your neck is supported. And then ever so gently, traction downward so that the back of the neck gets longer. You'll feel the edge of your blanket right at the um, base of your skull. Again, should feel kind of nice here. And breathe, just creating a little bit of traction for the neck. Good. Take the arms up, turn the palms forward, pull down as if you're pulling down pulling down a rope. Squeeze the elbows to the floor and then take it up. Just 5 of these. Squeeze down, opening up the chest. And 3, press the elbows to the floor. And 4, good. This 5th one, I want you to hold, press the elbows down. Make sure your neck is comfortable. Create that little bit of traction. And then as you press the shoulders toward the floor, be gentle. Create a little more rise in the front of the chest. Breathe. Don't overdo it. A lot like fish pose here, except the head is more neutral. And release that. Release the arms. Scoot back down so that your head is once again supported. Lift the hips. Take the hands to the floor. So your palms are face down beside you. The hips are neutral. I'm actually doing a slight tuck of the pelvis, head, neck supported. Lift one foot off the floor. So we're going to work a little bit of core here. You have to balance on the blanket. For some, this will be easy. For some, this will be a little bit tricky. Use your arms and your hands to create that stability. Take the right knee to your chest or whichever foot you lifted and straighten it out long. Good. Just bring it in and out. You might notice a little wobble on the blanket. That's a good thing. That means your core muscles are having to engage to keep you steady. Good. Breathe. Take that same knee to your chest. Extend it up to the ceiling. Draw the shoulders down to the floor. Find your engagement. Press your foot into the floor. So if you have your right leg up, press your left foot into the floor. Feel the left glute engage a little bit for stability. And then optionally reach your hands up toward that foot. So again, a little more core engagement, a little more action here to keep you steady on your blanket. Big deep breath. Release those hands, release your foot. Well done. Re-engage that core, that belly, making sure your low back is neutral. Bring your left knee to chest or your other leg if you went to the other side and straighten. Bring it in toward your chest and straighten and in toward your chest. Ooh, straighten. Two more. Breathe. Feel your steady foot on the floor. Good. Last one. And then take that leg up toward the ceiling. Breathe. Press the backs of the shoulders into the blanket. Take the arms up if you would like. Find your breath. Breathe. Release those hands. Release your foot. Pause here. Allow your hips to drop. And then tuck them in one more time. Good. Hands down on the floor. Plant those palms down. You can even hold your mat if you would like. See if you can bring one knee to chest and then the other knee to chest. Yep, it just got a little harder. I had to scoot onto my blanket a little bit more so that my hips don't drop. So here we are again, balance wise, pressing the shoulders down, pressing the hands down. Want you to see if you can tap one heel and then lift the knee again. Tap the other heel and tap. Good. Breathe. Tap and tap. Yep, you got to work hard here to stay balanced on this blanket and not let the hips drop. Breathe. Whew. That's it. We got 4 left, everybody. 4 and 3 and 2. Whew. And 1. Bring both knees to chest. Again, this is a weird little balance, right? We're on this ledge of a blanket. Breathe. And then take the hands out to the sides a little bit, palms face down. Just bring your knees a little bit to the right. We're almost done here. Almost done. Bring it center, bring both knees to the left. Find your balance. If you come off your blanket, all the more fun. And center. One foot to the floor, the other foot to the floor. Your hands go behind your head. Scoot down your blanket, curl in, and then grab your legs to come all the way up. Good. Breathe, everybody. And come to a seat. I'm just going to straighten out my mat a little bit. Good. Maybe you sit on that blanket, maybe not. If it feels good, go ahead and do that. Know that you don't have to sit cross-legged if that is not appropriate for you. Bring the shoulders up to your ears, roll them back, and then just do really gentle shoulder circles. Good. Circle them around. And then circle one arm. When we think about the spine, good. Circle one more. Sometimes we think of just the spine, right? We think of, okay, there's the vertebra, there's the spinal cord, all of that. I tend to think of the spine and all the muscles, good, release that are around that spine supporting it, and how those muscles can inform the spine, right? So if our chest is really tight, we're here, right, all crunched up, our backs get round, and then our heads have to lift to see forward. If our chest is open and our backs are super squeezy tight, then we might overdo here. Where is the tension? So you're just going to take one arm, and I want you to think about that idea of muscles, right? Informing the spine. So you're going to take one arm and just reach it up in an arc and reach it forward and maybe diagonally across the knee so that you're really kind of rounding. And think about that part of the spine, that upper back, upper part of the spine. And then take it back, bend the elbow, and look behind you and squeeze that same part that we just stretched. Good. Take it up. Just three of these. Reach it forward, but think about where we're working. Go slow, squeeze it back. And then one more, rounding the spine, taking that spine in a little bit of a twist, and then bringing it back. Pause here. Lift that spine. Don't drop the hand. Don't drop the elbow. Breathe. You're in a nice little twist here and release that side. Same thing, other side. Reach up, reach over, stretching this part of the spine, creating that rounding, and then reaching up and squeezing it back. Good. And forward and squeeze it back, twisting. Last one. And open and hold this time and feel the twist in the spine. The head goes comfortably to that same side, not overdoing it, but really important to keep the spine lifted. And release. Good. Take both arms out in cactus and squeeze that back body. And then drop the hands back and feel how that tucks that whole the shoulder blades in toward the spine, right in toward the front body. Woo. And release. Good. One more time. Cactus. Bring the hands back as if you could rest those forearms on a ceiling. Notice how that makes the chest come forward and release. Inhale the arms up. Take one hand down, the other one over now, taking that spine into a C curve. The spine moves in six directions, and often through life, through our daily lives, our daily tasks, we don't do very many. We might do two, maybe four, and reach up. Exhale the other way. Breathe. Take it up. Good. Roll that out. Switch out the legs if they've been in the same configuration this whole time. Last thing here, seated, you're going to walk the hands forward just a little so that you feel like you've got a nice lengthened spine. Mindful here when we sit, sometimes we've got to watch, particularly the lower back. You're going to round that spine. You're going to tuck the chin. Think of cat, right? Pressing those hands just a little bit away from you. And then isometrically pull the hands back. Start to tilt through the pelvis. Lift the chest, lift the head. Don't overlift your chin. And press back. A little funky cat-cow seated. And forward. Last one. And reach it forward. And slide those hands back. Whew, and release. Well done, everybody. Move that blanket out of the way for now. Come to the front of your mat. Maybe you have your blocks up at the front as well. So from table pose, similar things, right? Spinal work, spinal work. I love working with the spine, the back body. Let's take the right leg back, lift the leg. Notice if you overlift, you'll dump into the back. So lift the leg and then tuck that belly. Inhale here, maybe point your toes. Exhale, knee to elbow, more of a cat pose. Inhale, lift into more of a cow on one side. Squeeze and exhale, and then lift. Exhale and lift. One more. And lift. Hold it here. Kickstand out your left leg. Adjust your left hand and turn to one side and breathe. Flex the foot. Squeeze that upper glute. Take the top arm up and over your ear. One, you're here. Two, that's enough. You want to keep a foot on the floor. That's okay too. Or three, you're going to lower both limbs toward the floor, right? So again, arching or curving the spine into the C curve, allowing all that lovely blood oxygen to get into the vertebra. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, hand down, knee down. Whew. Pause here. Maybe flip your toes under and reach the hips back. Come on up. Let's just do the other side. Spread the fingers. Make sure that upper body is supporting your pose. And take the left leg back. Engage through the belly. Lift the leg. Maybe point the toes. And draw your knee into that elbow or chest. And lift. Good. Exhale. Inhale. Lift. Exhale it. And inhale. Lift. Two more. Last one. And lift, hold, flex that foot, kickstand out the bottom knee, adjust the standing hand and turn sideways. Good. One, you're here. Two, those toes are on the floor, more support. Or the arm reaches up and then overhead. We start with that nice straight line and then we lower both limbs toward the floor and stretch that whole side body. Good. Breathe. And bring it up. Exhale it to the floor and release a baby child's pose here. Once you're in child's pose, let the hands come underneath the forehead. Elbows are out to the side, supporting that head, that neck. Take a nice deep breath, everyone. Good. Inhale. Exhale it out. And then keep your forehead glued to your hands. Start to lift your head all the way up. Come up to your knees if you can. Release those hands to your hips. Tricky little transition. Just see if you can step one leg forward without using those hands and then grab your block. So I've got my right foot forward. Adjust the left knee that is on the floor. Take your hands to your knees. Now, feel the stretch on that left side. Everything is connected. We know it is. So when I think about this, I'm going to curl the toes under and stretch the bottom side of the foot, right? So then that's working. I go from that to the knee, to the thigh, to the hip flexors at the front of the left leg. A little engagement here, and take the left arm up and breathe. And imagine all the things getting stretched. I was thinking of this weird thing this morning where the foot curves in the foot. It was kind of like a spine. And how much do we stretch the foot. And in reflexology, the entire spine is along the outside bottom edge of that foot. So, how much do we get into that? Breathe and release. Both hands to the blocks. Press the hips back and just press into the toes a little bit as you straighten the front leg. If this hurts your foot, just go flat with that so you don't do any damage. And bend the front knee, look up. Exhale, curl and straighten the front leg. Last one. And exhale, smile. Good. Back to a lunge. Bring your right foot back or whichever leg you started with and bring the other one forward. Always adjust so you're not smack on top of that kneecap because that can feel really uncomfortable. And then take your hands to your knee. Same thing on this side. Flip your toes under. Notice the difference maybe, right? From a flat foot to toes flipped. And then engagement here, start to stretch all the way up this right leg, through the hip flexors, through the belly. Think about the spine in this teeny little back bend. And then take the same side arm up and breathe. Soften the other shoulder. Uncurl your toes at the front, right, that are digging into your yoga mat. And then exhale, hands come down, both hands to your blocks, straighten the front leg and see if you can keep the back toes curled under. If not, don't worry about it. And bend and lift. Exhale, reach back. Inhale, lift. Last one. And then bend that knee. Lift your other knee, everybody. Walk the blocks forward just a little bit and step forward. Whew, that probably feels good after all that. Bend your knees. Inhale, reach up. Exhale your hands to your heart and shake that out. I'm not used to the wide version here on the screen. It's interesting. All right, so your feet are a little wider than hips width apart. Your hands go to your knees. And we're going to do a standing cat cow. Everything feels different depending on your orientation. So as we press those hands into the knees, I'm going to curl my back up toward the ceiling, tuck my chin. I'm keeping my knees bent the whole time. The shoulders maybe rise up toward the ears a little bit. And then on the inhale, tailbone, low back, mid back, upper back, and then neck and chin. Exhale, curl. Inhale, lift. Exhale, curl. Inhale it, lift. Hold it here. Lengthen your tailbone like you're going to do a cat pose, but you're just doing that length in the tailbone. Take the arms up. Now we're in chair pose. Big deep breath, everybody. And stand all the way up. Release those arms. Shake that out. Take both hands behind your head and press the elbows back. You're going to lift that head up away from the neck, right? So get really long there. And then only if it's okay for you, lean back, lean that head back into the hands and gaze toward the ceiling. Watch the knees, don't hyperextend. Breathe. Feel like you're laying over that blanket again and you've just widened that whole upper back. And then exhale, bring the knees or the elbows together, tuck. Maybe you go way deep and bring those elbows to your knees. Lift up, lift up, lift up, lift up, lift up, and open the elbows. Last one here. Squeeze it down, curl. And then inhale, lift, and release that. And take a moment. Like, do you feel like, whoo, everything's a little more open, right? A little looser, hopefully. Because my goodness, the tightness that we carry in these necks, shoulders, backs. Oh, I gotta tell you. Okay, back to the front of your mat. Stand tall, everybody. Mountain pose. Feel the shoulders draw back and level out. I always notice if I'm just standing soft, my left shoulder tends to roll a little more forward than my right. So I'm always thinking about that in mountain pose if they feel even in the body. And then the back of the head draws back to bring the neck into alignment. The legs and glutes are active, back of the knees are soft. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands down to your blocks, everybody. Pause here and imagine that you're walking the sit bones up a wall. The knees are soft, a slight bend the whole time, but the hamstrings growing by trying to lift the sit bones up an imaginary wall, and then bend the knees more, just sink in and straighten the legs. Exhale, bend the knees. Inhale, straighten. One more. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. And then bend both knees, step back, right leg. This time your right knee is either up nice and tall or down on the floor. Take your hands to your knees. Engage the belly, lift the chest. Left hand stays on that thigh. The right arm goes up. Find your breath. Think of this, it's almost like a back bend on the right side only. Carefully take that right arm over to the left side. You're not going to go far, and it is going to challenge your balance. Take it center, take the same hand behind your head, lift the head off the neck, maybe gaze up. Careful here, all balance work. Take the head to neutral and take both arms up. Just a nice, easy crescent lunge. Exhale, hands down to your blocks. Straighten the front leg any amount. Wiggle the left leg's hip, right? Find the opening there with the hamstring. Hands are to your blocks. Make the torso really long. Oh, yeah, right? Instead of curling over, letting gravity lengthen, instead, press the legs away from each other. Maybe soften the elbows. And breathe. Bend your front leg, front knee. Step forward. Oh. Bend both knees, feeling the sit bones lift, but then squeeze the belly in. Take your hands to your knees. Lift your chest. Find a little chair here. Little chair pose. Engage those upper backs and stand up. Exhale, mountain pose. And breathe. All right. Second side, take the arms up. Exhale, hands down. Bend your knees and straighten. Good. Bend the knees and straighten. One more. Bend and straighten. And then soften both knees. Step back with your left leg, making sure that lunge has enough width to support you. Your knee is up or down. When you're ready, hands come to your knee, the chest lifts, your right hand stays where it is, the left arm goes up. And whew, feel that stretch, everybody. Take the left arm over to the right, into that deep low belly, still working with the spine. Whew. And center. Take the same hand behind the head, lift that head off of the neck and gaze up. All this challenging our balance. And center, extend both arms up. Find that nice solid lunge. Exhale, hands come down to your blocks. Front leg straightens. And once the front leg straightens, wiggle through that hip, right? Find that alignment so that the hips line up, the hip to leg to foot lines up. Feels good. Maybe push those feet away from each other isometrically and then lengthen the spine forward. Deep breath. Maybe soften the elbows. Bend your front knee. Walk those blocks forward. Step forward. Move the blocks out of the way. Bend your knees. Step back. Downward facing dog. Our first down dog all class. How about that? Breathe. Inhale, tippy toes. Exhale, lower those knees to the floor. Release the tops of your feet and come back to child's pose. Big deep breath, everybody. Notice your head is resting on your arms or on your hands. If you can, from here, lift up, pull that head up, release your hands, come onto your knee, step forward with the other leg if you can. Breathe, take your hands to your knee, flip your toes under, lift the other knee, and step forward. That was just a little, I've played with this a few times. How do you get up off the floor, right, without using your hands? So that's a kind of a fun little way to do that. All right, back in mountain pose. Find your breath. Take the hands behind you. Draw the shoulders back. Don't overdo. And press the hands back behind you. The knees go soft. The hips go back. We bend the knees like we're doing this big old squat. Draw the shoulders back and take the arms up, keeping the knees bent. And breathe. Release the arms and take them right around the backs of your knees. Hold on to opposite elbows. Breathe. Nothing else to do. Breathe. Release those hands. Take those hands to the floor. Step back with your right leg. Straighten your left leg. Sorry, I should have cued your blocks. Maybe the blocks are underneath, right? Working length through the spine. Take your front foot and lift the toes. You can use blocks, don't have to have your blocks here. Lift the toes, press into the heel, lengthen the spine. And imagine the upper torso getting longer, longer, longer. If you're lower the foot, and if you're using the blocks or your hands, depends on your leg length. Walk your blocks forward, but keep the left hip back, right? So don't let the left hip roll forward. Just lengthen through the arms. Think down dog in the arms. And bend your front leg, everybody. Walk both blocks forward, short hop up, and then stand up tall. Breathe. Last little hard work here. You're going to bend that knee, bring it in toward your chest, and then straighten it up. Just two more. Bend. I'm bending both knees and lift. Good. Last one. Bring that knee toward chest and lengthen and then release. Woo. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Good. Walk those blocks back. Bend the knees. Take the arms up. Exhale it down. feel your back body, feet or hips width apart. Take the hands behind you, interlace, and then interlace the other way, right? Habit, habit, habit. Interlace the other way. Press the shoulders back, but then down. Bend the knees. Come on down back to your squat. Take the arms up. Notice if they don't go quite as far up because the hands are different. It's really odd. It's so fascinating. The body. The sit bones lift. Breathe. Release those hands. Just take them behind your knees. Wrap the arms around. Hold here. Keep that deep bend in the knees. Lengthen through your chest, your spine. Release hands to your blocks. Step back, left leg back to your lunge. Once you're here, straighten the front leg. Find that beautiful alignment. Press the legs away from each other. Lengthen the spine. So right from this front ankle to the front hip on the right side, it's a long way, right? It's a nice deep pose. Soften, widen through the collarbones. Maybe walk those blocks forward, get the arms lengthening more, but keep drawing the right hip back. Big, deep breath, everybody. Can you find some softness in this quite deep pose? Maybe flex the front foot. Woo. About a stretch, right? The Achilles tendon goes from the heel all the way up to feather into the calf. We lift that foot and we feel that stretch. I feel it all the way up the hamstring. Good. Lower the foot, everybody. Bend your front knee. Lift that chest forward. Walk your blocks forward. Step up, three-legged. And then optional, last one, I promise, knee to elbow or chest. And then reach. And two. Last one. Extend out. And then lower that leg, listen up. I want you to take your feet wide. This is not going to be for everybody. We're coming back to a seat. So if you can, you're going to let those blocks go. You're going to bend the knees. Whew, and come on down to a seat. Ha, ha, ha. That's awesome. And breathe. Crisscross the legs. Just pause. Find your breath. Notice how quickly the body settles back into that state of being, that state of equilibrium, equanimity, centeredness. Take your right hand out to the side and internally rotate, and then bring it behind your back. Now, always, again, mindful of every part of the body. Excuse me. No sense if I turn to the back and I walk that hand up my back, there is no sense in doing that if I am straining this shoulder to do so, right? So the shoulder stays back. We can just as easily bring that forearm straight across. Same benefit there. So we draw the shoulder back, walk it up if you want, or keep it low. The other arm goes up, it goes up toward the ceiling, and we pat ourselves on the back. Am I trying to ignore taking a sip of water? It's not going to work. Cow face arms. And why do I do cow face arms here, right? So when we talk about the muscles informing the spine and the spine informing the muscles, what are we doing here? We've got one shoulder kind of moving forward and stretching the front deltoid. We've got the other arm going backward. So we've got the shoulder blades moving in slightly different directions. We've got the arms certainly moving in different directions. And again, informing the spine on the different muscle configurations. You don't have to hold fingers. You don't have to touch fingers. Breathe. Release. Take them out, shake them out. Always for me, it's the bottom arm that feels the big stretch, especially when we do this next side. So take the arm out, do an internal rotation, bring it behind. Maybe it just sits level with your waist. Maybe you walk it up and see. Other arm out, take it up, pat yourself on the back. Either reach for fingers or don't. I've seen many, many students struggle to touch their fingers only to just be in terrible pain trying to do that. It makes no sense. This is yoga. This is honoring the body, loving our bodies, taking care of them, exploring. Breathe. Try to soften. Keeping the head back in alignment. Good. Release. Whew. And release. That's my hard side. Take one arm across, the palm is face up. And the other one. And release. Grab your blanket. You're almost done. Hopefully it's still in that little round tube. You're going to take it back down, but we're coming on to our bellies here. Coming down to our bellies. So once you come down to your bellies, that blanket's going to rest kind of at those lower ribs, right? If it doesn't touch a whole bunch, don't worry about that. Come into Sphinx pose, everyone. And breathe. And just pause here and notice how this feels. Once you're here, super mindful of your neck, drop your chin down to your chest. And let the head be heavy here. Again, please don't do this if you know it is contraindicated for you. And then lift it up like you're smelling a beautiful flower. Lift the nose up. And then slowly lower it down, tuck the chin. Slowly lift it up. One more. And up. Release that. You're going to shift the blanket just for a second. So you got to lift up, slide the blanket down so that the blanket rests across your hips. Okay. So mine is at the pubic bone. My hip bones are kind of just at that top edge of the blanket. And come into Sphinx pose again. Notice that as you tone the belly in, the pubic bone starts to wrap down that bottom edge of the blanket, right? The lower back gets tons of length. You can lift your knees off the floor just for a little fun, and then lower them down. Feel the tops of your feet on the floor. Take your hands at a slight diagonal toward the corners of your mat. Press the low belly in, press into your pubic bone, and lift. This is a modification here of Cobra. Soften the shoulders, soften the elbows. Even if you can straighten them, just soften them. And then lower the elbows. Kind of lower that upper body just a hair. And then head is the last thing to rise up. Pull the belly in, press into your pubic bone, keep the head down, press into your hands, lift your elbows, and then lengthen through the chest and the head. The head is neutral. Good. Lower your head. Lower the elbows slowly, soften, and let go. Lower your body all the way down. Just let your head rest on your hands. Pause. Take the hands wide on your mat, but under or in line with your shoulders. So Cobra pose. I love using Cobra, a blanket for Cobra. It's like a little training wheel. So draw the elbows kind of back toward your hips. Don't over squeeze anything. And then dig your tips of your fingers into the mat. Feel where your hips are and start to draw the belly in and the tailbone long before you've even thought about lifting, so that the back of the body, especially the lower back, is really long. You can almost feel with this blanket that the legs can lift super easily. So draw the shoulders back. Keep the chin tucked. Press into your hands. Keep the elbows from splaying. Keep that chin tucked until your arms are as straight as you want them to be. And find Cobra pose. Now, if you're in Cobra and your arms are straight and your lower back is having a not very friendly conversation with you, bend the elbows, right? Bend the elbows as much as you need to, or come to Sphinx pose and breathe. Now, we're going to reverse this. I want you to tuck your chin, bend the elbows, lower down to the floor, release that chin, take the hands, forehead to your hands. Second time, press into your pubic bone, tone the belly in. Lift enough to slide those hands underneath your shoulders. Tuck the chin slightly, tuck the elbows in. Press slowly. Lift, 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 lift to your level. Take the chin up last. Drawing the shoulders back, lifting through the chest, stretching that lovely belly. And then reverse, tuck chin, slowly bend the elbow, slow, 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 release it fully, lengthen everything, and drop that head. From here, lift both legs. Lift both legs. Lift that upper body. Find your balance point on the blanket, which means you might have to scoot down a little bit. Take one arm back, take the other arm back, and find variation of locust pose. Breathe. And release it. Just rock those hips, everybody. Bend the knees, windshield wiper. Release the legs, turn over to one side. Take that blanket out, stay on your side. Bend the knees, let your top or your bottom arm support your head, or use your blanket or a pillow. The knees are roughly 90. It doesn't have to be perfect. Good. Take that top arm and reach it forward. And then pull the shoulder back so that shoulders line up. Take the arm up. Your hand is behind your head as you take that arm out. Let the upper back come to the floor. Your face is pointing straight up to the ceiling. In other words, you're not just dropping the arm back, the whole chest is open, just coming into a nice little twist here. Soften. And then extend the arm, reach up, and curl back over. Last one, take it up. Open it. You can do straight arm or cactus, the head supported with the hand. And take it up and over. Releasing this side, come back to your back first. And then allow the knees to bend as you come onto your other side. The hand holding that head. The top arm reaches out and then pull the shoulder back so that the shoulders are level. Take the arm up and come into a twist. Breathe. Good. Take the arm up. Bring it across. One more time. Bring it up. Bring it over. Oh, nice little adjustment in my vertebra that time. Big deep breath, everybody. Take the arm up. Exhale, release it. Come onto your back, onto your back. If your blanket is nearby, go ahead and grab it and place it just below the glutes, right at the back of the upper thighs. Bring your right knee to your chest and allow your left leg to go long over that blanket. Hands behind the knee. Take that knee up or that leg straight up and point the toes. Press the left leg into your blanket. Maybe you lift the heel off the floor. Not necessary, but maybe. Release both. Bring that knee to chest. Switch sides. Left knee in, right leg long. Hands behind your knee. Straighten that leg up. Point the toes. I marvel always at the connections in the body. When you stretch one thing, what else happens? Maybe lift the right leg just a hair. Releasing right leg, bring your left knee to your chest, both knees to chest. A lot of work for the back body today. Just squeeze it in, maybe cross your ankles. Let the back round. And straighten one leg and then the other leg over that blanket. And a well-deserved Shavasana, everybody. Straightening those legs, letting the arms and shoulders relax, closing the eyes. And being willing to breathe in everything, being willing to let go of what you don't need. The poem that I read this morning, picturing this laundry hanging on the line of all of the things, and then deciding which ones get folded and put back and which ones go into the rag bin. Soften down. Let go. See if you can soften even more. For those of you ready, go ahead and bend your knees. Let your feet come to the floor. Release your arms. Maybe let your hands come to your belly for a moment. Slowly draw one knee and then the other knee to your chest, rocking side to side. Allow the knees to roll over to one side. And as you're ready, press up. Come back to a seat. Feel your whole being, your whole presence. Bring your hands to your heart, saying a little prayer for those in the path of the emerging hurricane down Florida way. May everyone be safe. Namaste. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day. Safe, everyone.